What does it take to be a content creator? Get yourself a team, go down to the depths of hell, record your team getting absolutely murdered by whiskheads, giant scorpions, and snail people. Get the hell out of there and upload your video to reap the benefits of the death of all your friends. Pretty simple, right?
Servo! One rare!
Content Warning is a game developed by Landfall, who make games with goofy physics like Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Clustertruck, Stick Fight, and Rounds. The game was made as Landfall's own take on Lethal Company, which really does not need an explanation at this point. Content Warning gained its popularity by being a free alternative to Lethal Company, but it's not free anymore. It doesn't really have a prominent story, and it's more so focused on the fun party game aspect. However, there are little things that tease a story going on in the background, and don't you think it's a little strange? I mean, we're on a floating island and take a diving bell down to this world filled with monsters and robots and just don't question it? Well, revealed by the comments, this world is the old world, implying that people used to live here. But then something happened to make people evacuate and build a new world. But before we get into what caused this world to crumble, let's get into what this crumbled world actually is. This is the old world, of course, I've already said that. It's completely different from our floating hub in the sky. This world lacks color completely, other than some lights and a couple of the monsters. When you go down to the old world, there are 3 possible locations you can spawn in. The first and most popular one is the factory. If you have watched or played Content Warning before, this is usually the first map you'll come across. It has a pretty bare-bones surface with the entrance to a factory and a building next to it. There's debris all over the place, and it's obviously very long abandoned. Going down, there's a bunch of weird areas that don't look anything like they should be in a factory, and exclusive to this map are lasers that kill you instantly on contact. These lasers could have been built by people trying to defend themselves from the monsters, and a lot of the rooms that look like they shouldn't be in a factory could have been renovated or built by survivors that were living in the factory before they built and moved to the floating city. Monsters can spawn down here, such as the Slurper, who I think everyone at this point calls it Patrick Star, or at least some kind of star. The Snail Man, that me and my friends like to call Grandpa, grabs whatever players he can come in contact with, but it's very rare considering he's slow. The Whiskhead, of course, that just beelines it straight towards you. And the most annoying burden monster that nobody likes is Snatcho, that you have to make disappear by covering him in light, which barely ever works. And if you don't, then it's an instant death when he grabs you. Knifo, a ghost girl that launches towards you and stabs you, which is actually a well-balanced enemy with a pretty good chance to get away from. The Spider, of course, which at first doesn't seem like a fair enemy, but once you've played the game more, it's actually more balanced than a lot of other enemies. And my favorite, Screamo, or as I like to call him, Scrimbly, who tries to sneak up on you and scream, making it so that you can't hear your teammates from very far away. The Bomber, or Monkey, is a little guy with a squid face who throws bombs at you, and if you get too close, he blows himself up to try and kill you. The Worm, or Stanley as my friends call him, is a worm that crawls towards you. If it catches you, it will bite you and another player, locking you two together. It isn't very dangerous, not doing any damage to you after the bite. Flicker is a very dangerous entity, however, being the rarest one in the entire game. If you are ever able to record it, you will get a lot of views, but you'll have to go recover your camera from your body because Flicker kills you if you look at him, and you can't look away from him once you've started looking. Maiden is a very interesting monster. It's a weeping angel machine that captures you and makes your friends solve a captcha puzzle to get you out. If you aren't saved within the timer, you are killed. Another one of my favorites is Eyes, who is chill unless you shine a light on him, in which case he gets aggressive. The opposite of Eyes is Ears, who I wish I encountered more because of how funny he is. He listens for you and follows voices so he can kill you, but if you see him, you can just be loud and scream, and he'll get too scared to fight, running away from you. Wait, is he hitting the Gwitty? The next map is the cruise ship, being exactly that, yet having no water as far as the eye can see. There's a few different sections of this cruise ship, including a giant maze area that served as a hallway to get to rooms, storage area, and more, being entirely faithful to the theme of the map. An enemy that spawns here quite a bit is the Snatcher, or the Centipede, or the Scorpion, as I call him for some reason. This guy is one of the most fun monsters to encounter with friends, because he picks up people and throws them across the room. Another monster that uses his hands is Arms, who is a tall entity that holds his hands up to his face until he sees someone, in which case he extends his arm to grab them, strangling them until they can get away. He also plays a piano or an accordion sound to alert players of his presence, which makes sense considering his arms extend like an accordion. Harpooner is a monster that shoots a harpoon at you, and if he hits, then he tries to pull you closer to him so he can hit you. You can get away if there's something between you and him. Puffo is a lot like Snail Man, moving slowly towards the player, but this time when you get close, he puffs up like a pufferfish and launches you away from him. The Mime, or Waldo, is another tall enemy that doesn't move normally, instead teleporting slowly towards the player. He instantly kills you with a single slash if he gets near you. The Button Robot is easily avoidable. If you don't press the button, nothing happens. If you press the button, he explodes. But you wouldn't press that button, would you? And the last map is the Mines, being the only map that was added in an update after the game had been released. This map has tunnels and a cave, and 2 areas with giant pits that have structures built on top of them. I'll use this map to explain all of the craziest enemies, as in my playthroughs, they all spawn on this map the most. Starting off with a bang, the Big Slap is the best monster in the game for getting views. It is also debatably the most powerful monster in the game, killing the player in a single blow, and being extremely fast. His appearance is matched with a distinct gurgling sound. A less powerful monster, Slime, or Goober, can pick up players and bring them far away from their team, but doesn't actually kill anyone unless he drags you to another enemy. The Streamer, or as one of his names on the wiki says, Germa, is an enemy that looks just like the player, except this one has 4 oxygen tanks, a shock stick, and tons of equipment that the player can have. They actually have some voice lines too, all relating to being an evil streamer that's banned off of SpookTube. The Barnacle will spin and create a vortex that sucks nearby players in to do extreme damage to them. This monster is also extremely good for views, and if you can dodge it well enough, its appearance can be more of a blessing than a curse. The Cam Creep is a monster I've never encountered, but it can only be seen through the camera. It sneaks up behind the player and snaps their neck, killing them instantly. Dragon, or as his boring official name, Fire, it's just fire, is a monster that literally shoots fire like an actual dragon. It leaves areas on fire for a short amount of time and can be extremely dangerous and hard to escape. A few more monsters I've never encountered include the Knifo EX, being a variant of the Knifo that does more damage, and the Shroomer, which can only be spawned by holding out a shroom item that you can find. After holding it out, you become the Shroomer and attack your teammates using a powerful slap. There are 2 more monsters, which are the Infiltrator and the Snail Spawner. The Snail Spawner is very self-explanatory, and his snails disappear after 30 seconds. The Infiltrator replicates one of your crew members' appearances and will attempt to strangle you. These maps are all below the floating city, which is currently not in the game, but we do have our garden, with your house, a shop, and a few locations that you can buy. Let's explore the house before we get into the extras. The house has a bedroom where you spawn and you can customize your face. There are 4 beds, 1 for each of your crew members. Downstairs, there's a dining room and a living room where you upload and watch your videos. Added in a recent update, there's a room next to the stairs where you can get sponsorships on your computer. Outside is the main garden, where you can buy a trampoline, podcast booth, hats at the hat store, a green screen, cinema, and a swimming pool. Wait a minute. A swimming pool? Wait, oh, hold on. With water? This can't be right. Then what happened with the cruise ship? Why was there no water anywhere near this entire cruise ship? I think it's time I explain my theory on why this old world was abandoned, and where all of the monsters came from. Humanity started advancing robots for war, building turrets, walking landmines, robots that capture people, and more. A giant advancement being the Void Drone, that flies towards enemies and creates black holes. Eventually, these advancements got too good, and it went from humans creating robots to fight humans to the robots fighting all of the humans. This led to nuclear warfare, and while survivors lived from fallout shelters, they didn't want to wait until the surface was safe, so they made lead suits and built a city in the sky. They rebuilt civilization above all the toxic air to get away from the robots. Eventually, something happened to the water and made it all disappear, releasing monsters from the deepest depths of the ocean, like Big Slap, Barnacle, Puffo, and more. These creatures mated with each other to create even more monsters like the Snail Man, the Bomber, and the rest of them. Humanity now resides in the floating city, and on other floating islands like our garden, watching SpookTube videos of people who own diving bells and dare to go down to the old world. I'm not saying that this is the definitive timeline, and I have no idea why people would ever be interested in going down to the old world for weddings of all things. At the end of the day, this game is about fun more than anything else, and doesn't even have much to work off when trying to piece together a story. I'd like to give a special thank you to Sybildis, my only member who is supporting me at top tier. If you want special perks like getting videos early, a shout out at the end of videos, or exclusive updates on the next videos, check out the perks below. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Ultbee. Peace.
Oh my god, they're dying! Look! 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 I'm coming down! I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Oh my god!